Hi, everybody. Katrina here. Today, I want to talk to you about words. Now, I have long been teaching about the vital importance of words and the labels, excuse my nose itches, the labels that we give each other and give ourselves and the power that they have. The words that come out of our mouth define us, even to ourselves. And another way to look at it is that if we're going to be magical people and we're going to speak words of magic in ritual, when we're doing spell work, when we're manifesting, whatever it might be, we want the universe, the divine, God, goddess, whatever, to take that seriously. We want to be heard. We want that to be vital. What we're saying is important. And if the things we say mundanely are careless, how does the divine know to take our words of magic seriously? So I like to be very careful about the things that I say. And for that reason, and also some neurodivergent tendencies I have, it really throws me off when something I say is powerfully misinterpreted or misunderstood by the other person. Now, intellectually, I know they're working through their own experience, their own filters, they're having their own experience in the conversation. But because I'm so selective about the words that I use, it just confuses me to no end when somebody takes away something completely different. It's really hard for me too when somebody ends the relationship insisting I meant something that I didn't mean. And eventually you just have to let it go because what are you going to do? You can't explain and explain and explain, hoping you say the right thing to get it, you know, everybody on the same page. But that's another conversation that I'm sure we'll have. That is Bruce having a conversation with his damn self. The conversation I want to have today is a little bit more lighthearted. Now, as a writer, I love words. I love all words. I swear proficiently. I'm very, very good at it. Um, I I love different accents. I love the different ways that people use words. But there are just a handful of words and phrases that just set my teeth on edge. And I'm betting everybody has those. A really common word is moist. There's lots of people that do not like the word moist. I don't know why, but they don't. I have words that really bother me. I'm going to talk to you about them today. And you know why? Because I have a list in my iPhone, in my notes, about the words that I don't like. Hi, Bruce. The first one is when the word gift becomes a verb. I was raised in a world where gift is a noun or an adjective if you're gifted. And lately, I would say in the last 5 years or so, we have this trend of using the term gifted as a verb. And it just freaks me out. Things like my sister gifted me with this bracelet. Um, I think it sounds clumsy. I think it sounds a little bit dumb. I just don't like it. If I had my way, people would stop saying it immediately. I mean, how hard is it to say my sister gave me this bracelet? But it's gifted. I don't dig on that. I don't dig on that at all. Next. When people say, well, I was thinking in my head that this, and this. So anyway, I thought in my head, well, where the hell else are you going to think? Now, codicil, my daughter, who you met on other videos, and she's amazing and she's way smarter than I am. I will absolutely say that. She said, well, Mom, the idea that our thoughts are formed in our brains and in our heads is fairly new. For most of time, people thought that we thought from all different parts of our bodies. That's why we say things like my heart is telling me or my gut says. And I thought, all right, I can almost go along with that. I'm almost okay with that. But I still think anytime somebody says, well, in my head, I was saying, you know, if you say in my head, I was saying, that's okay because you're clarifying you did not say it out loud. And I appreciate that. Sometimes you get people that will start telling you what they said to somebody and they'll start weaving in what they wish they'd said or what they were thinking. And that doesn't work for me. But when you say, I was thinking in my head, yeah, I know. I knew where you were thinking from. I did know that. Another one I don't like, at the end of the day, well, we can do this or we can do that, but really at the end of the day, this means blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's not the end of the day. And if it's not the day, maybe it's not the end. Don't like it at the end of the day. I don't like it when I tell somebody I love them and they say, I love you more. Where is there to go from that? It's a contest. It's quantifiable. They think that they know what's in my head and in my heart. I don't like it when people say I love you more. I love being loved. Do not get me wrong. I love being loved. But be grown up. Be grown up about it. Next, when all is said and done, well, nothing's ever completely said and done. There's always more to say and there's always more to do. When all is said and done, it's right up there with at the end of the day. Here's another one. This is great. For all intents and purposes, that's kind of like at the end of the day and when all is said and done. But for all intents and purposes, or worse, for all intensive purposes, full body shudder. Any way, shape, or form. Okay, I get it. It's intense. We don't need to qualify it. Just tell me, just talk. Any way, shape, or form. I don't like it when people say peeps when they mean people. We're not talking about marshmallow treats here. Peeps, no, people, they're people. It makes me feel like that the people they're talking about are little pastel chickens and bunnies. And also chickens are the dumbest, angriest, stupidest creatures I have ever encountered in my life. So that's uncomfortable. I don't like it. And this is a Southern thing. I don't know if they do it anywhere outside of the South, the American South. But then he turns around and says, I was talking, she was going on and on about her political beliefs. Then she turns around and says, when she didn't actually turn around, where's all this turning around coming from? I don't get it. So turns around and says they're not turning around. They just said. Well, then she says, well, is that hard? That's not hard. She don't have to turn around. Okay. At this point in time, well, it's kind of a given that we're talking about this point in time unless otherwise specified. Just saying. This is a big one for me. And I used to get this in the healthcare field all the time. I was a medical transcriptionist. I worked front office for a clinic. I heard this all the time. Check and see if you have a temperature. Okay, you don't feel good. Do you have a temperature? Yes, you have a temperature. Believe me, you have a temperature. What we want to know is, do you have a fever? And I've heard healthcare professionals ask people, do you have a temperature? Yeah, you got a temperature, but your temperature might be 105 or it might be 94. You want to know if the person has a fever. It's a given that they have a temperature. The next one is, this is hard. This is really classy. I'm really getting at the classy people here. Signage and wordage. I tell you what, from the beginning of the Anglo-Saxon alphabet, the words sign and word were good enough. We don't need signage. We don't need wordage. That's just, I'm sorry, pretentious. Here's another one. This is offensive to me. This one's really offensive. And it's common. So I'm not trying to call you out if you do this, but just know that when you do, there is this icicle that jams down my spinal column right into my coccyx and hurts my butt. And that's when people say, can you say to make a point? And so it'll be something along the lines of, uh, gosh, it was really chilly outside. It's really cooling down. And they'll say, can you say cold front? Like, yeah, I can say that. Or I'm trying to think of another good example. Something like, well, I just really don't like the fact that that lady wouldn't serve me at the makeup counter. Like, oh, yeah. Can you say racist? Yes, I can say that. It bothers me that people, even when you're saying it to make a point, you're insinuating, just even through joking or even through just iteration, that the other person is stupid or can't speak. Here's another one. This is a real problem. To be perfectly honest, or if I'm really honest about it, the second somebody says that, I discount everything they've ever told me in the history of their entire life. Because if you got to qualify to be perfectly honest, that tells me you were not perfectly honest before, or there's a real good chance of it. And I want you to be honest with me. So you don't have to specify, well, to be honest. No, don't say to be honest. Just tell me. Tell me. And I'm going to presume that you're honest until you lie to me or tell me something different. Another one, and this is California. I don't know if anyone else is doing this, but California, we're rampant with this. And that's using the word like as punctuation so that it's all through a sentence. So it comes up something along the lines of, oh, it's like 110 degrees out and I'm sweating like a pig and I can't breathe or think straight because California is like a tinderbox right now. And I feel like I'm burning up all the time. I don't even know how many likes were in that sentence. I enjoy like. It's a good word. It's an excellent word for comparison. That was like milk and chocolate mixed together. It was like this person just broke my heart intentionally. Or I really like cake. Those are perfectly good uses. But you don't have to say every time you're going to say something or explain what you're talking about. No, get rid of all those likes. There's too many likes. We're using too many words. Too many words. We need to be concise. And this comes from a very verbose person. Pare that shit down. Get to the point. And I love words. I'm one of these people that when I write a book, I start out with 100,000 words and pare it down to 60 because I tighten it up and tighten it up and tighten it up. Who was the guy who wrote the book Hawaii? I know this guy's name. I can't think of it right now, but he would describe a mountain for 4.5 chapters and just go on and on and on, something that could take 5 or 6 sentences. So, yeah, the overabundance of words is already a problem. But the word like, that's way overused. The last one is when you meet somebody, and you know who does this? Dr. Nels Arden on My 600-Pound Life. He does this almost every time. And I see professionals doing this too. They reach out to shake somebody's hand when they first meet them and they say, oh, you must be Alex. You must be Mrs. Graham. Well, must I? That's a weird thing to say, isn't it? You must be this person. And I know they're going as in by process of elimination because I've got an appointment with somebody who presents as female today, and you're the only person presenting as female here in my office today. So I'm going to presume that you must be Mrs. Blake. I don't like that. Don't tell me that I must be anything. Do not try to define me. You don't know me. You don't know me. Don't act like you know me. So that's a little rundown of some of the words and phrases that just really irritate me. And I don't like to just put ugly out there into the world and leave it floating around. I will qualify to say that some of these just make no sense at all. They make sense to me, but they're not going to make sense to everybody. And I'm not trying to change necessarily how people speak, although it's real fine if you change how you speak to me based on those. But there's some of those I got to tell you, just when it comes, it just twitches me in the back of my neck somehow. It just bothers me. So I love communication. I love words. Treat them gently. Make sure when you say them, they're sweet. So if you got to eat them, they taste good. And understand the power of your words and how they can change somebody without you even realizing it or recognizing it. Think about all the times when you were growing up and somebody said something, an aunt, an uncle, a mom, dad, big brother, said something that hurt you, and you just carried it with you your whole life, and they don't even remember it. Here's an example. When I was about 5 or 6 years old, now my mother was an outstanding cook, and I mean just a queen amongst Americana cooking. She was an amazing cook. And I was watching her. I used to just stand there and watch her cook. And finally, one day, she leaned over and she picked me up and she sat me down on this metal stool. And it was a stool that had stairs that pulled out, this old vintage thing. And it sat by our stove. And she sat me up there and she said to me, "Honey, we better teach you how to cook because you're not too much to look at. And we want to make sure you can get a husband." Now, for one thing, I was 4 or 5 years old. And I just took for granted that was true because my mama said it. But I tell you what, carried that with me for 50 years. That my value in the world had to do with what I cooked and how well I cooked it. Now, I did talk to my mama about it later when I was about 40, 45 years old. Well, yeah, before she died. And she said, "Kathy," she called me Kathy, "I never would have said that to you. I never would have said that to you. I don't know where you got that, but it did not come out of my mouth. You didn't hear it." And I didn't say any more. I said, "Okay, well, I appreciate you telling me that. But you know what? I wasn't smart enough at 4 or 5 years old to put those words together in that configuration and keep it in my mind's pocket for 50 years. So I don't know if it's just something she said that she just didn't remember or wasn't thinking, or I heard her wrong or whatever it might be. But that's what I heard, and it affected me in a profound way. So keep your words sweet. I wrote an article for this upcoming Green Egg magazine that comes out on autumn equinox. And in the context of that, it's called A Lantern in the Orchard. In the context of that story, the grandmother, Grandma Lark, tells the little boy Rowan, "Keep your pockets kind." And I love that phrase. Keep your pockets kind. Make sure that what you're carrying around with you is kind. Make sure it's kind to you, and make sure it's kind to the people you're going to be giving it to. So even though I don't like those words, it's a big old world out there, and lots of people aren't going to like them. So you just do you. Those are the words I don't like. Y'all take care now. It's real good to see you, and I hope you're doing good. Hope you're loving life. And I hope you're taking some time to be present in the now and just feeling the happy things wash over you. Even if it's being hard, even if life is tough, and it is for so many people, just close your eyes for 30 seconds and just feel the good things wash over you. Let go of those ugly things that are happening and just feel the good wash over you, because it's out there. I promise you it's still out there. Y'all take care now. Bye-bye.